Hi everybody, and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In this video, I've got two very interesting stories from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? And both of these stories have updates. So if you want to move around in the different parts of the video, you can use the timestamps right below it. Now let's get started with the first story. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? And it's by user LeadingAsk1195. Am I the a-hole for reducing the money I am willing to give my stepdaughter for college? I had a pretty wild youth, and one of the women I slept with got pregnant. She didn't inform me about this, and I was oblivious of my biological son until about a year ago. He is 17 years old. I have since become a bit saner, and I'm happily married for 14 years. She has a daughter from a previous relationship who is 18. They will both be going to college next year. We had talked about this when she was younger, and I told her I would surely chip in about $30,000. Her grandparents from her dad's side are also willing to contribute money. Last year, I told her that I may be able to contribute $40,000, but it was not a guarantee. This is a lot of money, and it took me a long time to save it. My son has not enjoyed a comfortable upbringing. He has no support, and his mother is not in a financial position to pay for college. I want to contribute about $15,000. We are running a pretty tight ship, and I don't think we can make any more cuts without it affecting our retirement and savings. I told my stepdaughter that I would only be able to contribute $30,000, and she was okay with it before she found out we were also giving money to my son. She is very angry with me, and she is being distant, more than usual. I think what I don't get is that it won't hurt her. Her grandparents are willing to make up the difference. She is going to have the same budget that she planned to spend on college. I'm feeling a bit like an a-hole as I am giving her the minimum amount possible, which I had agreed on. I wish I could do more, but I can't. I don't get why she is upset. I think I am making the right decision here, but I know I have upset her and it is bothering me. My wife is not happy about it, but she is understanding. So, am I the a-hole? Well, OP, in this case, I'm torn between no a-holes here and not the a-hole. You certainly are not the a-hole because you are helping your stepdaughter with the amount that you promised her. You did say that you may be able to do more, but that's a maybe. You had promised 30, you're giving 30. And you're also trying to help your son, which you didn't know existed up until a year ago. Neither of those two actions make you an a-hole. And it's regarding your daughter where I'm torn between no a-holes here and not the a-hole. Because I don't know if her behavior towards you is due to the fact that there's money involved or it's because of your son's presence. So that's where I'm stumped. But what about you guys? What do you think is going on here? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Shadow Observer says, Info. What is your relationship with your son like now that you know about him? And has his existence affected how you treat your stepdaughter in other ways? And OP responds, She is polite and respectful, but she doesn't really want to spend one-on-one time with me. I don't push it too much. She is a smart kid, gets good grades, and stays out of trouble. I respect that she doesn't want me to play her father. She has told me this a few times. Our relationship has not changed after my son came into the picture. I have a bit warmer relationship with my son. We spend more one-on-one time together. Majestic Junicorn says, Not the a-hole. You are being very generous to hand over that amount of cash, and she needs to realize you have other obligations too. Your son grew up most of his life without a father to support him, through no fault of your own as you were unaware of his existence. It's time your stepdaughter realizes it's not all about her anymore and is lucky to have financial support from so many people. Her lack of gratitude is shocking. As you said, her grandparents are making up the difference, so what is the problem? Bitter Nerdette says, She is upset because you have another child taking your attention and money. It's irrational, but she will be upset and quietly jealous. This kid you didn't know about is suddenly dropped into your family's laps, and this is the first of many big steps that are going to be affected by one more person in the mix. She's seeing you give the extra you told her you would try to do to her replacement. You are by no way the a-hole supporting all your kids, but talk to people first. Please stop having discussions with your kids about what you might be able to give them. Anything you say they might get, they will expect to get because you were trying your damnedest to get it for them. That's the kind of miracles parents can pull off, and she's seeing the future where your attention and money might continue to be split. You need to start talking to her. This isn't just money that's the issue. Her family has changed without any of her input, and this needs to be addressed, both with your daughter and with your wife, not the a-hole. Okay, well, the community definitely thinks that OP is not the a-hole, and I'm really in line with what this last commenter said. Anyways, as you already know, we do have an update for this story, so how about we move on with that to see what OP did. I saw that I was not the a-hole from the comments, but I did disagree with a few who stated that I had no obligation to pay for her education. I feel like I have an obligation to her and my wife to take care of them. I did see some comments about splitting it equally, but I think it is not fair to my stepdaughter to break the promise I had made, as she would have to change her plans if I did that. I found comments from people who have gone through a similar situation very insightful and helpful. I didn't need to speak to her, as she apologized for making a big deal out of it when she knew she was going to get money from her grandparents. I accepted her apology and I left it there, as I felt I shouldn't try to pry when she was taking a huge step by apologizing for her mistake. We watched the Euro final together. We are both huge soccer fans, and she made some comments about if I wanted my son there, which I ignored as I felt it was coming from a place of hurt and she was poking fun at me and not my son. It is true that I am less cautious when interacting with my son. It is not because I don't think of her as my daughter, but due to our relationship suffering every time I tried to play the role of her father. I didn't want to disrespect the memory of her dad, and our relationship improved a lot when I stopped trying to spend time with her or dad her, as she told me. I think I made a huge mistake with this. I didn't ever renegotiate the implied line that was drawn early in her teenage years, because I was scared of hurting her and myself. I was a coward. I drove her to her grandparents this week, and it was mostly just driving in silence, but I did bring up that she would get to play soccer again, and I hoped I could attend more matches this school year. She smiled and nodded and said that she would like that. We then talked about football for the most of the drive back. It was nice. I think we used to do this often. It also struck me that she plays the same position that I used to play, which made me a bit emotional. My wife has suggested that we should think about family counseling. My daughter wants to do it too. Yeah, probably need to budget for that, but I think it'll be worth it. Well, OP, problem solved. You know exactly where you stand with your stepdaughter or your daughter, and you know exactly where you stand with your son, and you're gonna get to help them both out. You also learned some things about your relationships with them, so that'll help you draw the path forward. Good for you, OP. So now, we move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user PandaPhase. Am I the a-hole for asking for either my PS4 or $1,000 from my brother during his time of need? Hi Reddit, I'm in a bit of a pickle right now and I could use some moral judgment. I, 19 female, very avidly play video games. To give you an idea of how passionate I am about them, I'm currently going to college for video game development and computer science. And most people know that playing video games has become a pretty expensive hobby. So, back when I was a preteen, I received a PS4 as a Christmas gift from my dad. I had to pay for all the games and anything extra, but that's okay. So, I've bought tons of games and have probably spent nearly $1,000 in games and downloadable content. All from my own pocket. A few years ago, my older brother, 25 male, started liking video games too, so he began using my PS4 regularly, to the point that he used it more than even I did. We began splitting the prices of games we wanted to play, and it made it easier for both of us to do that. Here's where my issue comes in. My brother had been living at home for a couple of years while he went to a community college in our hometown. But a couple of years back, he moved several hours away to attend a different college. When he did that, he took the PS4 with him. I was not made aware of this until he had already moved out. I came back home one day from a friend's house to find that the console, controllers, and all the games were missing. Turned out he lied to our mom that I had given him permission to take it. Turns out his girlfriend has apparently taken a liking to The Sims 4 and played it pretty much non-stop on our PS4 and wanted to make her happy. I made the decision that once he graduated and worked full-time, that I'd ask for him to either return the PS4 and all games, controllers, and the game drivers, or to reimburse me for it. Now that time has come. He graduated months ago and ended up landing a great paying job. So I finally took the time and asked him what I stated in the previous paragraph. He ended up going off and cursing me out. Apparently, his girlfriend decided to become a stay-at-home wife and he's paying the bills. He thought I was aware of this, so he was super upset that I'd be such a greedy bitch in this time of need. I told him that he didn't have to give me money if he just gave back what was mine. And if he did give me money, I didn't need it right now, nor in a single payment. But he said that his girlfriend was super attached to it, so he couldn't do that to her. We argued more before he ended up hanging up and blocking me on everything. The reaction was so extreme that I'm wondering if I was wrong. I didn't realize he was having financial issues, but I guess I should have been more in the know, considering he's family. Am I the a-hole? No, OP, you are not the a-hole. That PS4 is yours. Your brother took it. Well, he didn't take it. He stole it from you because he didn't ask you for it and he lied to your mom in order to take it. You were nice enough to let him keep it for a while because apparently his girlfriend liked playing The Sims. But now that he's got a job and he's getting money for that job and apparently good money, he should give it back to you. And if his girlfriend is too attached for him to give it back, then he should get you a new one or reimburse you for it. As a side note, if he says that he's in financial trouble, well, that's his issue, not yours. He should still give it back to you. And the fact that he's gaslighting you, calling you a greedy bitch, and then blocking you everywhere, that doesn't seem right to me. What about you guys? What do you think? Let me know what your judgment is in this situation down in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Tumchd says, if he's not having issues with bills, etc., why can't he just freaking buy his own PS4? Dang, it's not that pricey, honestly. But yeah, OP, not the a-hole. That's your PS4, you deserve to have it back. I would play the emotional warfare and get your parents or whomever has the most emotional influence on him to request him to return you your PS4 and your games. Raven Blue Eyes 84 says, not the a-hole. His girlfriend isn't a stay-at-home wife as she isn't his wife or have kids. What he means is his girlfriend is being lazy and won't get a job, but that isn't your issue. Take him to small claims court for the costs of everything, plus the time you've been deprived of it and emotional hardship. And OP responds, yeah, I've kind of realized that the whole stay-at-home wife thing isn't really legit when she literally had nothing to do every day. Makes sense why they want to keep my PS4 so bad, lol. Most definitely, I hadn't even thought of going after him for other issues as well. Thank you for that. Sia on the Rift says, not the a-hole. On the other hand, I very much doubt you are ever going to get any of that stuff back and recommend just letting it go. And OP responds, I honestly doubt it too, but I've decided to take it to a small claims court anyway. I'm about sick of letting him get whatever he wants. Even if I don't win, it'll at least make him think twice about stealing from me or any other family member again. Yes, this has happened on several occasions. OP's edit. Just found out he lied about the financial hardships. Talked to some family members and found out that the only bills he pays is the electric bill because he's living in my grandfather's old home. I will be calling from my mom's phone tomorrow to let him know that I'm taking him to a small claims court. Thank you everyone. Smiley face. OP's edit 2. Had a lot of people confused as to why I waited until he graduated to ask for my PS4 back. I didn't include some information in the post because I hit my character limit. I did ask for it back immediately after it was stolen, and we ended up coming to an agreement that we'd switch off having the PS4 each month. After a few months of doing this, he stopped bringing it back. I realized I was not going to get it back unless he could buy himself his own PS4 and games. So the PS4 was truly only missing for a year. OP's final edit. A ton of stuff has happened today, and I can happily say that I'll be getting my PS4 back tomorrow. Sadly, I can't post the full crazy update until this post is taken off of the front page. Once it is, I will be contacting the mods for permission to post a full update. Smiley face. Little change of plans, I'll be getting it in a few weeks instead. But I much prefer this because it'll be delivered by my brother's girlfriend rather than him instead. Okay, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that she should do something about this. And then OP gives us more information that just solidifies her brother as a huge douchebag. And finally, she tells us that the PS4 is coming home. So now we're gonna move on to the update to figure out how this all happened. I was not expecting to be delivering a final update to all of you so soon after my original post. Nor did I expect the post to get so much attention and support. I was ruled as not the a-hole, and it made me finally realize how much of a pushover I've been to my brother. It took many comments encouraging me to take action that finally convinced me to take back what's mine. And now I can very proudly say that we've won. Smiley face. The day after I originally made my post was pretty crazy. I took the advice of many Redditors to threaten to take my brother to a small claims court. So that morning, I called my brother through my mom's phone to let him know that I'll be taking him to a small claims court. He did answer, but he laughed off my claim and hung up. This is where I decided to take another Redditor's recommendation of getting my family involved. For those of you who are unaware, my brother currently lives in the house that my grandfather owns. He basically lives there for free and only has to pay for electricity. So I called my grandfather. He was livid. He told me not to worry about anything and that he'd handle it. I got off the phone with my grandfather and I got a call from my brother about half an hour later. My brother said he'd bring the PS4 and all the accessories to my apartment on Sunday. But I ended up heeding the advice of a Redditor and put down my own terms. I told him that I expected it at my house tomorrow after he got home from work and that I'd be recording the exchange if he tried something funny. Thank you to another Redditor for that. About an hour after, I texted my brother's girlfriend the question that many people were wondering. Did she know that he stole it from me? The answer is luckily no. She did not know that it was stolen from me. Weirdly, she did know it was stolen, but she thought it was stolen from one of his friends that he used to smoke with. After we talked, she offered to take all of my belongings to my aunt's house for safekeeping until she could drive it over to me when she goes on a trip upstate, since I live about 2 hours away. I will be recording her as well, even if I trust her a bit more. And for those wondering, what did my grandpa do to my brother to make him change up his act so quick? He gave my brother 30 days to move out before he kicked him out. But the real kicker was that he threatened to take my brother out of his will. Keep in mind that this was not the first time my brother has been a snake to a family member. This just happened to finally be the breaking point. So my brother finally got what was coming to him. He lost the PS4, all of its accessories, his home, and me. So there it is, everyone, the surprisingly short end to our endeavor. Smiley face. This could not have been possible without the support, advice, and judgment that all of the kind people on this subreddit have provided me with. Cheers to our victory, my friends. Well, that's great news, OP. You're getting your stuff back and your brother's getting what he deserves. So all is right with the world. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing, and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.